Hello and welcome to the first AMA for I'm going to say the Asia Pacific region, but also this is the most futuristic time zone that we run these in. Just saying. Anyway, hello. My name is Steve Kuchin and I'm joined here today by Richard and Taosheng from the Lilypad crew. And we're here today to, well, answer everyone's questions and geek out and, well, have a bit of fun, because what fun is a geek out without some fun? Oh, I just said it twice. Anyway, oh, we just had someone else register. Amazing. How are you both going today? How are you today, Richard?
I'm good today, thanks. I've just been busy beavering away on Lilypad.
Gosh, what a fine project that is. I
Yeah.
contributed to it myself as well. And hello, Taosheng, how are you today? How is it at your end of the world?
Hi everyone, I'm Taosheng and I'm from Lilypad team, and I have a long history in the computation and the storage. And I have a long memory about the Lilypad from very beginning of the backyard. I like this project very much.
Amazing, and so glad to have you as part of the team. Now, as we go through, the chat's open, so if anyone has any questions, please drop it into the chat. We've got I'm going to say a plethora, which is a lot of technical experience between. I just love using the word plethora. Ever since that movie many years ago, was it? Oh, The Three Amigos. Probably showing my age, but we do have a whole bunch of experience, and we're always loving to geek out with people and find out what you're building. So please drop any questions, comments, or emojis into the chat so we can answer them. If not, we're probably just going to potter around some code, maybe take a look at some modules. And we actually had a really fun just before. Hello, Victor. Just before we got underway, we actually have an interesting module section that we're going to look at, or a section from a module rather, from our SDXL pipeline that we'll dig into as well. So yeah, but if anyone does have any questions, please drop them into the chat. Otherwise, we're just going to keep talking while we're recording this AMA, which is the first office hours for the region. So what have you both been working on this week? I know we're gearing up towards our big incentive net push, which I have been tracking extremely close and with great interest. Every ticket I read them all, every notification that comes through from GitHub. But yeah, what's some of the stuff you've been working on this week, Taosheng? I think you've been playing around with some node building, right?
Yes.
How's building how have you found building out a node been going? Like, have you found it easy to follow, or been adding more to the documentation, or?
For the past 1 or 2 weeks, we are redesign the implementation of the POW support of the incentive net, and we also, I think the main work is about the code implementation, and we also need to add more documents for the how to run the POW nodes and how to build the node of the infrastructure layer. But I think that will be part will be work with the job module together to build end-to-end pipeline for the computation network.
That's amazing. Of course, one thing I know we were talking about recently too is encouraging more people to contribute where they can, even if it is just to add more context to the documentation. So if somebody goes through and tries like the how-to guide for getting started. Oh, actually, I should grab that link. If somebody goes through the guide on like how to run your own node as part of the Lilypad network, and you find something you think needs to be added to the documentation, then please drop it in. Oops. Got my light. Thank you. Yeah, please drop that in. Oh, that is better. Please drop that into the. Oh, actually, I got distracted. There. I'll go get the link from the docs on the nodes. But yeah, we're always looking for people to contribute. Oh, thank you. You found it. You got to it before me. I got distracted by the lights. But yeah, we're always looking for people to contribute to the project, even if it is just updating a thing from the documentation or a section that you think should be added. We're always open to pull requests, and our GitHub is, well, always looking for those contributors. Also, stars. If you have a second, please head to our GitHub repo and star the main project, the documentations even, or anything that you found useful, any of the modules as well. Stars are always welcome.
Did I see that? Sorry.
Taosheng,
did I see that you started translating the documentation into Chinese?
Yes, I'm translating some letter paper and the academic paper behind the Lilypad network. But we want to ask more support from the community, just like Steve said, especially for the Asia developers. I think the urgent requirements is we need the Chinese version of the document for the notes and for the jobs. And we want to volunteer from the community. That is very important for us. And the second requirement is from the Japanese and the Korea languages translation. If some people from Asia, Greater Asia, read this video, you can just read the PR to contribute to the document.
Awesome. I think Emma said we're working on Spanish too. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Great.
Yeah, I love those translations, and special shout out to Victor who gave us the star. Thank you. Yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, I mean, having those documents in those different languages just helps with people being able to not only share their GPUs if they want to run a node, but also to get started running their own modules, running their own containers, or running modules we prepared earlier on network, which is really, really cool. And we're always after those too. So, and if anyone needs a hand getting started, either contributing or with any of our documentation, or even if they have any suggestions, or they just want to drop in and drop a star emoji with a super reaction in our Discord, I'll drop the link in if you're not already in there. Let me try Discord. Then please also join us on Discord as well, because we're always looking to connect to new folks, and there's a growing community in there. Almost at 1,000 members, and it's exciting because I remember when it was only 100, actually less than that, 10. So it's great to see that community grow like it has. So please join us there as well. Richard, I heard that you've been doing a few things this week.
Yes, it's been a busy week. Our main focus this week has been building the proof of work, and that's how we are going to measure the compute performance that's being provided by different resource providers. So we've been putting that together this week. And it's a little bit intricate, on quite a few moving parts, but it's been a really interesting part of the project to work on. And we're going to ship that soon.
That's amazing. Actually, I did poke around that code yesterday because I was like, I want to see how this thing runs. And well, I don't have a GPU attached to my laptop, so the short answer is it didn't run.
Well,
which is kind of
it is
good.
It is GPU heavy. There's a lot of, basically we calculate your hash rate, and then based on that we make an estimate on the compute you're able to provide, and that will help us do things like price jobs and things in the future.
Yeah, and understand capacity and processing power essentially at the node, which is really cool. Yeah, the other thing I learned yesterday is, probably going to say it wrong, but Kupi, which is one of the main Python, or the main Python library used in there, doesn't work on Mac anymore, which is why I couldn't run it. Yeah, I was like, I tried to run it and it was like, package not found. So I'm like, cool, pip install Kupi, and it was like, no.
Why is that? What happened there? Is that an intentional change?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's one of those support drivers interface things, but of course Mac also has its own AI chip. What version of? I was on 3.2 actually. Let's think. I was on 3.12. Oops. What am I doing? That was a rookie version.
You telling us what version you've got?
3.12.3 latest. I updated it yesterday because I'm 3.11, and I'm like, oh, maybe it doesn't work on there, but anyway, I don't know why I just typed the Python version. Yeah, but I did find out that I did work out that QP does not support OS X anymore, which I suspect is a NVIDIA driver issue or a graphics card driver issue or something. OS X architecturally is done. Granted, this is an Intel laptop, but from what I read, there was a whole bunch of forum posts around it too. So there you go. Maybe in the future. But of course, been some pretty big announcements. Speaking of Apple, I should take this down. Speaking of Apple, pretty big announcements this week too around the whole, integration of a not so open AI project being integrated into iOS this week, which I thought was very interesting. Has had quite an interesting reaction, particularly from the angle of us building a decentralized, democratized, open AI. Oh, wait, you can put in a message saying could be the Apple chipsets have their own libraries for machine learning. I've not tried anything on my M3 Max yet. Yeah, exactly. Actually, funny. We have been tinkering with some of the M chips and getting Lilypad nodes to run on there recently as well. So stay tuned for that. We have some stuff in the works, particularly when the M4 comes out. I'm totally buying an M4. Just say, I'm sure everyone is going to want an M4. They're going to be so hard to get until next year. Fingers crossed they're ramping up supply. But yeah, I think it's going to be some fun times.
Some of the Apple models are open source, so I'm not too sure which parts are open source and which parts are not. But I think some of it is open source. There is an interesting page that they publish, more technical information about what they. I'll put it in the chat here.
For the M4 spec?
No, for the machine learning models.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And how they run.
Here. Yeah, there's quite a good description here on how this works.
Maybe I will share my screen.
And they have some links to their open source model.
Hey, there we go. Let's see if I can get this over there. I can.
But I like that Apple Intelligence abbreviates to AI. That was no coincidence.
Yeah, that is pretty smart. At least they didn't call it IAI. They went through that whole everything. I actually haven't read through this yet.
Yeah, there is a link to Apple's AX Learn framework.
Yeah, okay. I wonder. Where is it? Down the bottom?
It is near the top, just after the first picture.
Down.
Well, down?
No,
down, stop. There we go.
That one?
Yeah.
Excellent. And they're on GitHub. That's great. AX Learn. There you go. So this could be having face transformers. Yeah, nice. And it's got interesting. We could probably turn this into a module while looking at this.
Oh, that'd be cool.
As soon as I see that Docker file, it's like
module
working. Still right now? Yeah, we'll do that one later.
Yeah.
The modules can get a little complex.
Yeah.
And the ones I've been working on this week, that's what I've been doing so far this week, in between a whole bunch of other stuff, but is building out some really complex models. I really want to say on what, who with, and what for. I can't yet. Stay tuned on that one. But I've been doing some
exciting.
Fun. So always love pushing technology to its limits, and this is no exception. Because in doing it, I'm actually using Lilypad to build the containerized image to run on Lilypad. Anyway, that's when my head explodes. Especially so, and I know we've talked about this heaps internally, because Lilypad itself runs on containers, and we're using it to build the containerized images to run on Lilypad. Anyway, it's literally a fact. Yeah. And someone this week was also mentioning around running Kubernetes inside a container. So anyway, that just topped off the sequence of mind blowing. It's fractal inception almost. I've kind of been thinking of lately, but I did submit a conference talk recently on containerizing the containers for containerization, or something like that. Anyway, in saying that, some of these models are so big that we've been building 16 to 20 gigs in size. And so building those locally and then trying to ship them out to run anywhere is somewhat problematic. So getting the network to build the images to run on the network means we can have faster access and better storage to put them in. So it does make things a little bit easier. Plus, building an image not using CPU and using GPU, so much quicker, like minutes rather than hours. So anyway, there's write-ups and stuff coming for that. Plus, we ultimately want to make it easier for everyone as well. So anyway, just going to pause there, see if there's any questions. And if you do, please drop it into the chat. Or if you have any comments, questions, I just said that, comments or emojis, please drop them in there too, and we would be more than happy to help.
Okay, sorry, Victor. Victor, do you want to
Wait,
go ahead?
how do I bring that?
Hi, can you guys hear me fine?
Oh, there we go. Hello, yes,
Yes.
welcome.
Well, great job so far. I'm really enjoying this presentation. I have just a quick question from what you mentioned earlier regarding running a node. I'm currently, for example, just mining Ethereum with my NVIDIA GPU, Ethereum Classic rather. For example, and that's giving like some rewards, not minimal, right, for the GPU. What rewards and incentives do you guys for, other than the obvious one, of course, of helping to build the project, but maybe in the future even? I'm curious to see like what kind of rewards do you get for running a node for Lilypad, where I would supply the GPU computational power to you guys to run Stable Diffusion or other models within these containers.
Excellent question, particularly because we are just about to launch an incentivized testnet. So we have more details. Short answer is yes, we do have rewards coming. I can't talk about right now because we have a whole bunch of collateral, material, and announcements to make around that shortly. But yeah, we are launching an incentivized testnet. So you will be rewarded tokens, which will then be traded in for the Lilypad token when we launch to go to mainnet. Towards the end of the year. So our target date for that currently is November. And we actually just announced this week that we're partnering with Arbitrum to be able to sort of connect up to that mainnet as well. So the short answer is stay tuned. Very, 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 very soon. I've been tracking the dev team's progress on that. Plus the new network the engineering team have been building out. Shout out to Rich and the team, Gorka and the crew, is really cool. I've seen the architecture for it, and it's pretty fun. But there's a whole suite of announcements to come out for that, and how the incentivization works, and the POW to make sure to check the hash rates and all that sort of stuff it's imminent.
And it's likely that the earlier you start running your node, and the more you run it, the more rewards you might end up with. So please feel free to create a node and join the incentive net.
I have questions about infrastructure. What card and hardware do you have, as you don't mind us asking?
Oh, right now I just have I have two NVIDIA 3080 Ti's, mining operation like 24/7. I could push it to Lilypad if but I'm more focused into actually using you guys for a project that we recently built for HackFS. And but I was saving, maybe some of those questions for later. Just wanted you guys to, I don't know if you guys were doing a presentation or I didn't want to just randomly ask.
Oh, no.
Tell us about your project.
Yeah, no, I'm keen. Well, I mean, I was part of the judging team for that. So, we'd love to.
Rock, paper, scissors. Oh, rock, paper, ninja. So,
okay.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that one. Grabbing my notes.
I didn't see that. How did that work?
The app, so we used Huddle, and basically it's like you log in, you could have your kind of like we have a video stream chat box in there, and you basically bet on rock, papers, or ninja, in this case scissors, and if the winner gets the win from there. But Lilypad, we integrated locally because we couldn't push the AI Stable Diffusion model out onto the live net. Well, it was on testnet Sepolia, but it was like live on the website, since it was only using CLI commands. So I'm currently looking into building like a Docker container to kind of host on some kind of, hopefully Vercel. Maybe we could integrate it with Vercel, if not another hosting provider. But yeah, we use Stable Diffusion to basically generate an image, and then you could create an NFT. It was pretty cool, or at least have custom characters, your own ninja characters, for example. And then I was thinking to maybe like have like prompts, so you could have like a whole collection of ninjas based off of Stable Diffusion, which is pretty cool.
That sounds great. Love it.
Nice. Yeah, that Stable Diffusion module is one of our biggest modules at the moment too. So yeah, I totally get making it more portable, I think that's definitely something we're looking at the moment. And also then building functionality so people can build their own module, so we call it, we've termed the phrase container swapping just because it keeps blowing minds with the whole using the network to build the thing for the network. So, but yeah, that's one of our, making it easy to build these modules is definitely a focus point for us. So always looking for that feedback and bringing more usability into the design.
Yeah, I was on the last AMA with Alex and Logan, I believe. It was, yeah, Logan. I even discussed with them on, because I saw on the on the docs for the Lilypad, you could have a fine tuning effect, I think it was called. It was you either have the generation of the image or tuning the image, and I couldn't understand how like to push like an array of just like pixel data, for example, into the model, and then get a processed image back. This is something he mentioned that you guys are working on. But yeah, I was thinking like taking a selfie, for example, and then you have your own personal AI generated ninja photo for the app. So that would have been cool, really cool. But, yeah.
Funny you should mention that because I actually have a Cartoonify me module at the moment, but that is one of the complexities is getting that image data in well, the only way I've kind of looked at doing it so far, well, the main way I've looked at approaching it so far was having it externally hosted somewhere on some type of either a GitHub repo or somewhere where you can just reference the URL as part of an input and then send it over. But I don't have Comfy UI running anymore. Essentially, it's just the SDXL pipeline module, but with the image-to-image processing built into the flow. So you can load an image, or once the image gets in there, it runs through the usual SDXL workflow to be able to process the image and then does the out. But yeah, getting images in, or getting assets in general, a little bit tricky at the moment. Working on it.
Yeah, I would imagine. I was talking to Alex and Logan. I would imagine it would be like a flat array of all the pixels in some kind of format.
Yeah.
The way it probably eats it, but yeah.
Well, I was also looking at base64, but that can get really long, and we're kind of limited to But yeah, work in progress. One of the sort of fundamental modules I've almost got ready is Docker in Docker. Well, yeah, this is what blew my mind the most is with this Docker. There's actually a Docker image for Docker on Docker Hub. I found out recently. Yeah, so you can run Docker in Docker on Docker, which is what we're looking to do. I mean, for the self-build module, that's literally what we're using to build an image to run the thing, but which means we can do a two-step process on Lilypad. But yeah, making those sort of being able to bring those assets in sort of opens up a whole world of options from there. The other thing, actually, when you're talking about fine tuning, there's a on-chain data company that we're working pretty close with at the moment, and particularly with the fine tuning of research data and whatever else, being able to pull in data sets from their on-chain data into the module's inner workings and then push that back out again and to reiterate its own data inputs is also being tinkered with at the moment, which we can store base64 image data in that as well, which could be interesting. So stay tuned. We've got some fun stuff in the works.
I guess while we're on the topic, one little question: how would I host my own model on like Lilypad, for example, if I want to then be able to utilize?
Yeah, actually, the onboarding of new modules is something we're we'll be focusing on next once the new network's out. But yeah, we're interested to chat more through how best to approach that from a few different angles. So, amazing question. One of the sort of core elements to that, beyond making sure they're secure, making sure they run with error-free, whatever else, because we don't want jobs to keep crashing on nodes and doing all sorts of unusual things, is also to make that whole onboarding flow a lot easier, to be able to bring new modules into the ecosystem, and then for other people to be able to run them as well. So here's one I prepared earlier. You can actually do that yourself from just a GitHub repo. So here's literally one that I prepared earlier. This is the Lilypad version of Taosheng. So I call it Lilysay. And as you can see, oh, maybe you can, I'll make that a bit bigger. From the prompts, actually, that's probably, I'm gonna move it over here because it'll be easy to see. There we go. So I've got Lilypad run, the usual command line, but then on top of that, there's the GitHub repo, and then the tag. The tag just freezes the code so that the Lilypad runtime knows which code to look at, what to grab, and from that it's going to lift out the Lilypad template, which I can switch over to in a minute. But this basically means you can literally from any GitHub or any publicly available GitHub be able to run your own Lilypad module. So that's, I can run that here, and while that's running, I'll switch back here. Yeah, and literally that process is going to come to this repo. It's going to look for the tags, which, there we go, there's 1.51, which is the one we're just looking at. And then that'll point to this release, which is actually the release we're just looking at. It's not the view I wanted browse files. And it's going to grab this Lilypad template, and from that pick up all the information it needs to run that job, including where the image is running. We've just recently switched from Docker Hub to ECR, so it's pulled that in from there. Should finish in a sec because it's a CPU job, and then grab what other information it needs as well from that file. So the prompt image, the prompt message, which I just had a message in that. Yeah, I didn't put the image in it, which just passes on the environmental variables to the actual container that's running. So as long as you can access those environmental variables in the container's normal runtime, then it will be able to pass those on through to that. And that's kind of it. The only other thing is it's also going to grab some of the specs it needs, the hardware specs, to be able to run that particular job. So no GPU because it's a pretty light job, this one, and then CPU and RAM, which it's not going to need a whole lot. Should finish in a sec. And that's kind of it. And that's how we build modules at the moment, is by pushing that GitHub repo, making sure it's publicly available and tagged, and then just calling it into the runtime. Like so. So it's actually only that. So that's the input prompt for message, which was that environmental variable, then whatever the public GitHub repo is, and then the tagged version number. It's important here to note too, when you're reiterating building out the module, that tag needs to change each time because it caches locally. The job will cache that repo on your local machine, and if you use the same tag, it's not going to go get new code if you've already got that tag version sitting there. So that's why, yeah, 1.51 starts to appear, because as I go through different versions, it just changes.
Really helpful. This is really, thank you. I appreciate it.
That's okay. Thank you. Actually, while we're here, I'm going to talk about two more things, because this is what I call the Docker file juggling act. So, and this is when you take an existing container. Actually, there's a few extra lines in this one from when I originally started. There's certain parts to the Docker file container from the image that you build as part of your Lilypad module that will need to move over or change slightly to suit the environmental runtime or whatever else you're wanting to run with your container. So with the environmental variables, image and message, for example, I've got those mapped into the Docker file used to build the container or the image that runs. And so there's a bit of backwards and forwards seeing which combination suits the image better, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
actually,
I'm looking at this, and I would imagine, like, if I would put the image data, it would be somewhere here, and then the Stable Diffusion would understand that, okay, I need to just fine tune that image, right? To my understanding, that's how it would work.
Yeah, yes. And that does get a lot more complex with bigger modules like Stable Diffusion, for example. Actually, maybe I can start Comfy UI as well and look at that a little bit. See if that finishes the DevNet. Sure, looks like it's working. Yeah, I've actually got a blog post too. Here's one I prepared earlier. I'll drop it to the chat, which we've got a bit of a write-up on. Here we go. on how I built the Lilysay module, and then just documenting some of the steps and processes needed to be able to get that get your module up and running. We're totally like we're working at the moment to make this more streamlined and easier process to be able to build out with, well, a bit of self-building, if you will, container juggling, as it were, in there as well. So, but yeah, always looking for feedback too. So once you start playing with it a little bit, if you come up with some ideas, we'd love to hear it. We're, all ears in the Discord and on our socials. Cool. Lucky I had that at hand. Awesome. Well, yeah, if you did need help building out a module, actually, have you used Comfy UI before?
I have not used it. I'm reading through it right now. The article is actually pretty good. Oh, I've not used Comfy though.
Okay. No, I found that handy. Actually, I am going to start it. I'll leave that run for a sec. What have I got open? Probably not that one. Oh, there we go. I think this is the one. Oh yeah, I am miles away. So many. The good news, I don't have a GPU attached, but if you have a GPU attached, I mean, this is literally just the Comfy UI. So I've just cloned it down into my local. You have to install, it's Python based, so you have to run pip install dash requirements, and that'll live dangerously. It's probably just broken everything in my local environment. That should be fine. And then from there, in the root, you just have to run python main.py. If you've got a CPU, you don't need to do this. And so everyone's got a CPU on my computer, but well, they should do. If you've got a GPU, you don't need to put dash CPU. If you don't, like I do, you can still run it. I found this in a really obscure forum somewhere in a galaxy far, far away. But see, it just broke. This worked literally 2 hours ago. I was in a meeting and I did this and it worked. Maybe I did that. Nope, it was definitely double dash. That did work. And anyway, you can normally run that, but now something is very unhappy. I think I might have needed to do pip3. Oh no, it's saying it's already in use. Okay. Oh, well, maybe it's already running and I didn't shut it down then. That was 127. Well, what do you know? Here's one I prepared earlier. Turns out it's running in a window somewhere. But this is Comfy UI, and this is literally, okay, this is one of my test images from the SDXL pipeline module, like literally straight from the repository. You can load, so inside, actually, let me open XDL pipeline. See, we go to these URLs so much that I just have them in memory. Literally, it's like in sheer quick access memory. In scripts, it should be, no, missed it. It's in one of these, media or Docker. There's going to be, there we go. In Docker, there's workflow.json, and then inside Comfy UI, you just do a load and then load that particular workflow in, and it loads like all the entire workflow. So you can load new elements in, you can edit things, you can see like the seeds there, which some of these variables, environmental variables, they get surfaced out as part of the runtime. So you can see back here. There we go there. So that's the seed there, which is from that, and then the number of steps as well. So these are defaults, and then you can override those with the input prompts as the image gets run on the network. Some of these I don't completely understand what they do because they kind of came from the original Stable Diffusion template set. Like I think this is an encoding thing, but you can step through and then be able to sort of figure out which sections do what and then how to connect that to the next bit before you like loop the workflow over if you're doing like a multiple of steps, which is listed there. And you can also change all those variables around too a little bit. But the good news is like you can tinker with it, dump it out, build your image, and then be able to run it and see what the outputs look like and tweak it and rinse and repeat, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, Comfy UI is kind of fun, like being able to link everything up and run what you need. And ultimately how this then gets built into a module or like a Lilypad containerized module is, go back to this one. So that, where is it? There it is. That workflow.json gets pulled into a Docker file. So these here get run as part of, I'm gonna do a bit of jumping backwards and forwards. When you run the build script here, that will go through that Docker folder and run all those individual Docker files. So I'll switch back to here. Probably could have just opened other windows. Actually, let's just open other windows. So if I open this one up, you can see here, this is just a regular, I don't want to say regular Docker file because it's pretty, these are pretty involved, but this builds the image that then runs as a module on Lilypad. So it takes that, where is it? There we go. Down on line 36. Oh yeah, wait, I should probably make that bigger. Down on line 36, it grabs the workflow.json and loads it into the image that gets, or the image being built. It actually runs Comfy UI as part of the image builder process, the first step contain image build, and then pulls that workflow in, builds what we were just looking at there, but from a CLI point of view, does the image build and then outputs it somewhere. Yeah, all in one go, which I do because I don't have a GPU on here. I do that on a VM at the moment, just on the internet, and then get that to push out to our image store, which at the moment is ECR. Yeah, we're working on making this a lot easier and more intuitive, and well, so the system can do a little bit of that itself. The second run on that, then you can get it to use that, get the module to use that image, but alongside any prompts that you set up and need to have running as well. So anyway, I've been talking too much. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, if you do get stuck, let us know.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you very much. Can I ask a question on behalf of the community? That is, could you introduce the architecture design, the innovative architecture design of Lilypad? As far as I know, there is node network, node network for the people who can contribute as a GPU server. Another layer is kind of job module. The developer could build some innovation module pipeline based on Lily network. As far as I know, that is a modular design of Lilypad. I think that is very fundamental for the community, even that somehow is a little bit different for different group of people. So I think we can give some introduction about the basic level of architecture design of Lilypad. I think that is very important for the community.
No, that's a good idea. And I actually have that on the slides, which stopped presenting. I'll need to relaunch. Where are they? I actually have that on a slide. Just digging out where my slides went. No, I don't know where they went. All right, hang on. Let me dig out where my slide deck went because I've got way too many windows open. But I do have a graphic around that. Just give me.
No problem. Maybe today we didn't have enough time to give a dedicated introduction about the architecture, but I think in future we can have a separate AMA for the innovative architecture introduction for the community.
Yeah, I'm keen. Well, so glad you mentioned that because we actually have this session happening every 2 weeks. So maybe we do that for the next one. How through, which I did have. I'm almost there. Oops, I think. And I've lost my windows. Wait, can everyone hear me again?
Yes, now it's okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my Bluetooth crashed on my Mac. It must have heard us talking about the AI, and the AI's. Oh, wait, all right, I have the slides back. Talk about tech fail. There we go. Next. Hey, there we go. That one. That's the slide I'm looking for. Oh, and I found my Hangout. Oh, it's all coming up Millhouse. So I think this is the graphic you're looking at. Everyone did the applause thing. Recovered. But yeah, this is, I mean, the high level sort of view on what Lilypad, how Lilypad works from a high level point of view anyway. Was this one of the architecture things you're talking about, or you want to go into more detail? We should get Gawker's architectural mapping here at some point, once the new incentivized testnet is out. Because I know when I saw it, I was, yeah, there's a lot in there. It's really good. Anyway, we'll do that one for the next one because we are almost out of time. It's a good idea. What other slides do we have? So for those who aren't familiar with it, we have these. Actually, we'll save that for the next one, just because I know we've only got 10 minutes left now. Where did the time go? It literally just felt like we just said hello to everyone. Well, before we wrap up, because we don't have too long, if Victor, did you have any more questions or anything you wanted to ask for this session?
No, not at the moment. I'm basically just looking through the Comfy UI and the other article. It's very. I'm really thankful for that. That's going to help out on the integration for the app. And if I do get another question, I'll probably just put it in the chat, so I don't have to interrupt you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. If you do come up with a fun way to move assets or images inside and out of the module, then yeah, please let us know. We'd love to take a look. But yeah, thank you. And again, if you get stuck, reach out. There's always one of us not too far from Discord, as you probably noticed. I'm pretty sure you're in there too. And yeah, great hack for ETH Global too. That was a good one. Rich, Taosheng, did you have anything more you wanted to add? Wanted to geek out about the time we have left?
Nothing comes to mind right now.
I want to add some words. I want to add some words about just like the introduction from Steve. We call the community to contribute not only for the GPU provider but also to build lots of amazing model in Lilypad. That means if you don't have much hardware, but you can contribute from codes and technical and lots of software related for the AI based on the Lilypad.
Yeah, that's the thing. I probably don't have time for that one now, but I was going to switch back to. I'm really upset. There we go. We do have, that's the one thing I love. Not having a GPU connected directly to my computer is I can still build out these high-end models and run them really, really easily using Lilypad just with the command line, and be able to use the network to not only build the image but also run the image too, which is fun. The power behind these GPUs is really cool, like really great for building out the image itself and then running it within minutes as well.
Yes, thank you.
But yeah, okay, next join us the next AMA. It's in 2 weeks from today, which seems like a month away given all the stuff that we're working on at the moment, but I don't know, it'll go super fast. But yeah, we'll dig into the architecture a bunch more, but also not only dig into the architecture a lot more, but there is one next week too. That is a good point. Thanks, Ali. In alternate hemisphere hours, or it's more US centric, let's say. So if you are watching parts of this recording, hello from the past, and yeah, please join us in more region friendly daytime hours. If you're wanting to join and geek out with us a little bit more, come tell us what you're working on. Tell us what you want to build. Tell us some of the fun things you want looking to build out, or that you think could be fun to have built out. We want to hear those ideas, and also, if you're interested in contributing as well, reach out, because we're always looking for contributors or stars on GitHub repos. We'd love to see those stars. Only takes a second. You just click the thing in the top corner. I always love doing that to repos that I like and want to contribute to and just really value the project itself. So, all right, on that note, I'm going to stop recording. There we go.